Daniel Ricciardo has been in the sports for almost 10 seasons now. A glimpse of his potential appeared in the first test he did back in 2009, where he recorded the fastest time on the final day by over a full second. Fast forward to 2011, at the British Grand Prix, he made his Formula 1 debut with HRT, replacing the rain car Cayenne midway through the season. Then he moved to Toro Rosso for the next 2 seasons, driving alongside Jean-Éric Vergne, who he comfortably got the better of with a qualifying record of 30-7. Consequently, he was promoted to the senior team, where he well and truly established himself as one of the best drivers on the grid. Over the 5 seasons at Red Bull, he won 7 races and took 29 podiums, and many around the paddock predicted to move to Mercedes or Ferrari in the future. But that opportunity never presented itself, and Daniel then limited his options even more by signing with Renault for 2019. Looking back at everything he has achieved in Formula 1, you'd expect that by now he would be in a position to fight for a championship, and not be fighting for cheap points in the midfield. Which begs the question, is Daniel Ricciardo another what-if driver? But before we get into it, I'd just like to remind everyone to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel with the notifications turned on so you don't miss the latest videos that come out. I'm also on Twitter at BMPHF1, so you can give me a follow on there as well. But without further ado, let's get into the video. 2014 was the breakthrough year for Ricciardo. Prior to this season, nobody really considered him to be a so-called once-in-a-generation talent. Sure, he was fast, but nobody took much notice until he got to Red Bull and went up against the man fresh off his 4th world title, Sebastian Vettel. Danny Ric not only outperformed him, but he became a consistent threat for race wins whenever the Mercedes boys tripped over themselves or fell victim to mechanical issues. Even though Red Bull, or anyone for that matter, never even touched Mercedes, Ricciardo still made a statement to the entire F1 paddock by establishing himself as one of the best drivers on the grid. In 2015, Sebastian left the team and Ricciardo was joined by Danik Fiat for the next year and a quarter. Overall, against the Russian, he was quicker and more consistent throughout the season and arguably should have finished higher in the standings had it not been for mechanical issues that ruined races where he was on pace to score solid points. Then, at the Spanish Grand Prix in 2016, he was partnered by one of the most anticipated young drivers in Formula 1 history, Max Verstappen. Once again, 2016 was another brilliant season from Ricciardo as he finished 3rd in the championship with 1 win and 8 podiums, and had it not been for this incident, then he would have had another win that year as well. But Verstappen did manage to outperform Daniel in the last few races of the season, which gave us a small indication that Max wouldn't be as easy to beat as his previous teammates. So let's take a look at 2017. Max was the much stronger driver in qualifying with a record of 13-7 and an average gap of just over 0.3 of a second. Verstappen also headed Ricciardo when it came to races they both finished with a record of 5-2. This just goes to show how unreliable Red Bull were in 2017 as both drivers only saw the checkered flag on 7 occasions. In terms of mechanical related retirements, Verstappen had 4 compared to Ricciardo's 5, so pretty much even in that category. But Ricciardo scored a lot more podiums than Verstappen with 9 compared to Max's 4. This for me was the key factor in Daniel beating his teammates that year. His consistency and strong race performances enabled him to finish higher in the championship with 32 more points than his teammates. But considering Max's solid performance in his first full season at Red Bull going into 2018, Daniel most likely knew that he wouldn't have the same backing from the team as before. The start of the 2018 season wasn't all too bad, especially after an incredible victory at the Chinese Grand Prix, pulling off some spectacular late-breaking maneuvers to go from P6 to P1. But everything would change just 2 weeks later at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I'm sure you all remember the incident. Daniel dummies right and Max tries to cover, then Daniel switches to the left and Max moves again under braking, which resulted in both drivers retiring. Looking back, it's fair to say that Max is at fault for this incident, but Red Bull on the other hand blamed neither driver for the incident and Verstappen essentially escaped scot-free. In my opinion, this was the final straw for Ricciardo and it was clear that he didn't want to stay with the team any longer. After Baku, his season went from bad to worse to eventually just a complete nightmare. 6 mechanical related retirements compared to Verstappen's 2 just looks ridiculous, especially when 4 out of those 6 came after he announced that he'd be leaving Red Bull at the end of the season. You guys can let me know what you think about this in the comment section below, but he even said himself that he didn't feel he had the backing of the team after that infamous incident in Baku, and he was not about to sit there and play second fiddle to Max. So come 2019, he joined Renault and this move was another case of right place, wrong time. Renault were considered to be the 4th best team at the time, therefore, when Daniel was looking for another team, this was his best option. However, 2019 proved to be not as good as they expected, and really, it was down to Ricciardo's brilliant driving that enabled them to finish 5th place in the championship. He outscored his teammates by 17 points with a season-high finish of 4th place at Monza. This season is looking like more of the same, with McLaren making significant progress, and Racing Points, yeah. So back to the original question, is Daniel Ricciardo another what-if driver? He recently just turned 31, and is therefore still very much in his prime. Compare him to some of the other drivers who we look back on their career and say the same thing, Daniel is among the cream of that crop. Having looked at his career to date, you can see why he made the decisions he made, but you can also see that his talent doesn't deserve to be put in a midfield car. But the move to McLaren for 2021 will provide a new opportunity for Daniel to remind everyone who he is and why he is one of the best drivers on the grid. Daniel's story is not finished yet. With the right environment at McLaren, he could definitely make some waves next year, and if they ace their car for 2022, he could potentially win a World Drivers' Championship. Hopefully, when it's all said and done, we can look back on his career and say he well and truly got the most out of it. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're new to get my latest videos in the future. Also, some of the information in this video I got from asking people on Twitter, so I'll leave some links in the description below to their content for you guys to check out. Comment your thoughts on Daniel's career so far and whether you think we'll look back and say he should have achieved more. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.